So I'm gonna say the first time I read one of her comics, I think it was Vixen NYC, where I was just like, oh my goodness, this is badass. Firstly, I think this is like the first time, don't quote me on this. This is like the first time we have like a Vixen ongoing Vixen series. And I'm just like, I didn't pull all of mine out. Oh my goodness. But yeah, like it's the first time we get like an ongoing Vixen series. And I fell in love with Vixen and just how awesome she was, how she's just like coming into her own throughout the entire series. And to know that this series was created by two Black women, just like did everything for me. And then
Yeah.
so I did not put it together that the same woman who did Vixen NYC is also the same woman who did Brooms, you know, right? Also did Brooms. And then recently I fell in love with the last session.
Yeah.
Y'all, just
I couldn't
I
find my
actually
copy that quickly, but yes.
I pre-ordered the last session, like the complete campaign that's coming out in
Yes.
July. I'm just it's
Yes.
just yeah, just super
Girl.
excited. So and to
And
know
y'all
that
remember
this
us screaming about Brooms together. We had like a whole review
yes,
episode.
we do.
And that
Y'all
was
need
when
to
I put
check
it
out that
together that they were the same person. And I was like, oh, like, how did I miss this? It's
greatness,
giving
right?
range because you don't automatically assume.
It
That's all I can
is
say about that. Okay.
big range because this woman writes I learned that she does flats, like which we're gonna go over, you know, in this interview because I was intrigued by what that even was. You know, she does editorial work, you know, sensitive reading, like does everything. So and has her like own small indie press. So
Like,
I'm just
what are we talking
right
about?
doing all of the things. So without further ado, we're gonna bring on the amazing Jasmine Walls. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I feel like I got to live up to that very, very good introduction. I'm like, ooh, wow, I did write those books.
Listen, it's
Yes,
all facts, no gas. You know, you already did the things.
right. You are fantastic. Oh my goodness, I
Thank you
am
so
in
much
awe
for
of you.
having me.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm
So
gonna
makes
fangirl a little bit, but I'm gonna let Bray start the introduction, the
yes. Oh my
interview.
gosh. You know what? Live your best fangirl life because you deserve it, babes. And we are so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time. The first question that we love to ask all guests who come to visit us in the Pink Riot Lair is, what is your comic book origin story? So what got you into reading comics, and then what got you into creating comics?
All right, so it's a bit of a journey.
Yes, take us on the
my life,
journey. We're both
Right?
in.
my life has been full of comics. So my mom comes from Belgium, so she grew up on like classic Betays like Tintin, Lukey Luke, the Smurfs. She grew up on those, so those were just my childhood. I thought everybody had a giant shelf of those. um, and so that was just sort of like normal for me. So I was like, okay, yeah, everybody grew up on comics. Um, and then my brother got very into like superhero comics, and some of them were fun. Some of them I was like, whatever. So I didn't really,
Mhm.
really get into them until I found out about like there were queer characters in them, and suddenly I was like,
Yes.
oh wait, no, now I'm more curious. This is all just like dudes being dudes. I just didn't know enough. Um,
Right.
and so I started reading some, but I didn't think of it as a career because my first career was actually in pastry, and that's what I have my degree in and everything is culinary arts, specifically with
Okay.
pastry. So I
Stop.
worked for a
All the
long
hat.
time in kitchens. And after that, because I opened my own baking business, and you know, life happens, and I ended up having to close it down. And after that, I really sat there and I was like, when I was deciding on where to go to college, I had kind of waffled back and forth between culinary and art, and I was like, well, at least with culinary, I'll always have a job. And I was like, let me try art this time. And so I really got into like graphic novels and indie comics. And I think that's where the passion came from, where I was like,
Mhm.
these are the stories that I'm really feeling. These are the stories that like I'm connecting with more than necessarily
Mhm.
like Cape comics. And, you know, I also had a huge love for manga. My teens were spent reading so much manga. And I think that combined with the rise of the like American graphic novel scene was that, you know, that was just, there was no going back. So I started making little mini comics for myself, and yeah, it just sort of grew from there.
Oh my goodness.
That is so cool.
Regine put it in here, like, yeah, you're the second one on here that like came from
Oh yeah.
culinary. Yeah. That
Wait,
is
who's the other one?
cool.
I need to know.
Regine, she wrote, what is it? Eating Vampires. Oh my goodness. She's from Lock It Down Productions. She's an Eisner judge right now. She's just like
Very
everything.
cool. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
see the comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go check out those. I love hearing about other people who are in culinary.
Yes. Oh, that is so
LT says you
cool.
still cooking just with different ingredients. I know that's
That
right.
part.
That's true. And
Jana
a lot
said
of my
serving
stories
pages
talk
daily.
about food. Like, if you notice in Brooms, they talk about the corn cakes and stuff. I was trying to get that marketing team to let me do some recipes to send out.
Oh,
And they're like,
stop it.
"Mm." I
That
was
would
like,
have
guys,
been
we could
awesome.
have had a whole corn cake recipe thing going on, but
I'm gonna
it's
need you to
fine.
run that over
Just
to our
do it.
DMs.
Right.
Period.
Oh,
Okay.
next time, just do it. Just
Right?
do it. Because that sounds so cool. You know how many cookbooks I've seen connected to like shows and books and stuff?
Right?
Yeah. That would be so. Are
Or
you
the
Yeah,
saying
I
next
you
time
want
love
to
you're
do?
doing like a signing, have just like a cute little recipe
a little
card
recipe card. Ooh,
and
yeah,
tuck
that's
that right on into the book.
there you go. There you
Right?
go.
Mhm. Period.
Oh, now I want some like, oh my god. Okay, so
Yeah,
what's
we
your
gotta at
favorite?
least get that one recipe.
Right.
Right.
At least that one. You don't gotta give it to everybody. It's okay if you just give it to us.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. We can do that.
Oh, that would be so cool. Mel TG says, I want a Brooms recipe booklet. Facts.
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
Same.
And do.
Yes.
And do.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
They
can
got a lot
still
of fun
make
little
it,
food
still put
scenes
it
in
out.
there.
Mhm. It's not too
Yes.
late. Don't worry. We got you guys.
That'll be my next zine for when I do cons again.
Oh,
Period.
yes. One of my favorite scone recipes is from the back of a book.
I love when
Same.
books include recipes.
Yep.
Yes. Oh man. Okay, so you're gonna have to do that. I just want you to know, like that's the homework. You
Right.
take nothing else from this interview. Just
Exactly.
you send us a recipe.
Yes, everybody's giving you the green
That's
light.
doable.
Please. Yes. Okay, so I love that. So you just decided to switch gears that way. So what was the first story that you decided like, okay, this is a thing that I'm actually going to push to print or to put out into the world?
Yeah, I take a very like I'm someone who loves lists. So whenever I take an approach, I have a goal. I'm someone who's like, all right, here's my like 5-year plan. Here's my bulleted goals.
Mhm.
So I knew going in, I was like, I have to have a strong portfolio. You know, I'm coming in.
Mm,
It felt like late in the game at the time, about 10 years ago, because I had a whole other career. Um, and I was like, oh God, I have to keep up with these people who are like fresh out of high school and they draw 10 times better than I do because I was still drawing a lot of my own stuff at the time. And
Yes.
turns out I just draw really slow. I'm much faster. Like,
All
yeah.
right.
it
Good
was
things
never going to
take
work
time.
out if I was drawing my own stuff.
Right.
But I knew I needed a strong portfolio. So I was looking at like different publishers and what they sort of expect when they're looking at portfolios. And I was like, okay, you know what I'll do is as someone who did also draw, I really respect an artist's time. Um, that's something that's so important to me. Anytime I work with a publisher, one of the things I ask for is like I would like to talk to the artist, not so I can be like here's my vision and you have to do it, but more
Yeah.
like, hey, let's make sure we're both getting a fair deal out of this. Because I would feel awful
Mm,
if I did a book and it turns out the artist was like, I had a terrible time on this book, and I would I would be so upset. So I always
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's something sort of fair. And so what I did was I would scrape up savings and make sure that I'm at least paying a decent price to the artist. And I would do very short comics because of that. I would do maybe like 3 to 5 pages, and I would very slowly start building out a little on my portfolio.
Very
And
mindful, very cutesy.
Yeah.
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 yeah, and it's something I'm really glad I had my culinary career. I mean, it kept going. I was working in bakeries while I was doing comics because I wasn't making any money. But I was really glad that I had started my other business first. So I had a bit of an idea of what to go into. And so I would save up money, I would pay people, I would, very slowly build out my portfolio, post online. The one that really did it was there was a comic that went slightly viral. I worked with Amy Phillips, who's an incredible illustrator, who did a short comic about a group of D&D players who are just kind of playing, and they're trying to take down this orc warlord, and the main character, a paladin, is trying desperately to beat him, but keeps rolling ones until instead of defeating him, he ends up seducing him. And it was just like a fun, goofy time because I love D&D. I've been playing it for years, and that
Nice.
one just like took off. And I didn't know until years later, but an editor who I worked with later on to write the last session had seen that and was like, "One day I'm gonna hire you."
Oh, I
So
love
it's like
that.
you never know. And I didn't find out about that till after I'd been hired, and that was a good 6 years later. So it's wild. It's wild what happens.
I love that.
See,
That's proof
yes.
that you don't have to have it all figured out
Exactly.
immediately. The second thing might be the big thing, and always
Hmm.
create what you love because you never know who's watching. I
You
love
never
that.
know.
Yes.
And I always tell people, like, don't try and create for your audience. Create for you first. And
Mm,
when you create for you, people are going to see the things that you love, and you're going to find the people who want you to do more of that. If you start creating for an audience, then I don't know, it never feels quite the same. So yeah, like go
yes.
wild and
Agree.
let things take time.
Ooh, that's a
Yes.
bar, Jasmine. Go wild
Right?
and let things take time. I love that. Absolutely
All right.
love that. Also, hearing that you're a D&D player, would you happen to also be a DM?
I occasionally DM, yeah. So I have friends who love doing long form DMing. I love to do single one shots where we just
Yes.
go nuts, and I'm just like, all right, we're playing for one night, do whatever you want. We're gonna go wild.
Period. Okay, because
Yes.
this is very fortuitous for us in the Pink Riot Lair because we have been trying to put together a Blurty Baddies D&D
Ooh,
everybody link up
Yeah.
live and do them as like one shots.
oh, that would be
So,
Yeah.
fun.
We're trying to have multiple of them
but we
with
need a
different
DM
DMs and
though.
I mean,
different
if you
group
want to do
every
a little one
time.
shot, I'm always down.
Yeah.
Teet,
That's gonna be
teet.
dope. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Okay, my
now we
bad. I
got
totally
2 sessions
interrupted.
that we gotta yes, okay,
Hey,
this
there
is
we
gonna be
go.
great. Okay,
Yes.
since we're talking about that in the last session, I'm going to fangirl because I loved the last session.
I'm
Like
so glad.
I played D&D and it's just I have always had the greatest time. And
Hmm.
it's very for those who don't know, the last session, at least the first one, is about a group of college kids. They're adults now and they've been playing since high school. Their GSA club, it didn't quite work out the way it was supposed to in that first meeting, and then they just decided to play together. And they've just had this ongoing game for years. And so right before they like go into adulthood and they are dealing with everything that adult life, is supposed to be, they end up, playing this one last session, and they have a new incoming person on to in the session, and it doesn't always work out. But man, like it was just so awesome reading this book and just seeing everybody like come together and figure out their friendships and figure out what the next steps are gonna be for them. I guess this is my long-winded way of saying, did you have to play a one shot to, like, figure out what was gonna happen in that story? 'Cause you essentially have, like, 2 different plots happening
Hmm.
at the
Hmm.
same time. So, like, what was it like trying to keep the two plots going at the same time.
Yeah, because we've got, I guess, three storylines going on. We have them when they're younger,
Yeah.
where we at the start of
Yes.
each chapter we get a little glimpse of them in high school and what they were going through. We have
Right.
their real life currently while they're in college, and then we have the game. So it was a fun challenge to try and figure out, like, all right, how are we weaving together these three storylines where it doesn't feel jarring. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't play a game or anything. When I was discussing with the editor what to do, it was funny. They had sent me an outline because they were like, "Hey, we want to make a D&D story. Here's like a really vague idea of what we want to do." And I remember looking at the outline and being like, "Can I change 90% of this?" And luckily, the people at Man Cave were like, "Yeah, go for it." I think I kept the one element, which was there's a new player, because the original story was
Well,
we have a
damn.
new player and they kind of like start causing problems.
Mm.
And I was like, here's the problem with that. When you have a new player and they're the worst, you just kick them out.
Mm,
You don't keep them
yeah.
in the game. Why would you keep them there? And I was like,
Mm.
what would be more compelling is we had a brand new player who's trying their hardest. So you're like, you want to give them a chance, but they're still wrecking the game despite that. And I was like, because then you want them to succeed, but you're also like, can you please like focus? And then it's like, are they really the problem, or
Mm,
are there other things going on? And
Mhm.
I had suggested that, and I was also like, can I make everybody queer? And
Yes.
Mad Cave was like, yeah, why not, go ahead.
yeah.
It was funny just thinking back to the things I asked for that book. I was like, can I change the plot? Can I make everybody queer? And then halfway through the book I was like, can I have a skeleton army?
Yes.
And they were like, go nuts, Jasmine. And I was like, great, thank you.
I love that.
But yeah, so a lot of it's drawn from, because I've been playing D&D since high school. So a lot of the like goof ups that happen are just like not necessarily exactly what I've done, but like kind of pulled from that experience of like the highs and lows of rolling dice.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah, it was a mix of like pulling from my previous experiences and then trying to build a coherent story that reads smoothly.
oh, and it did. It did. I fell in love with the
I'm
whole crew.
glad.
Like,
And I wanted it to feel like real people. I know there's a lot of D&D books out there, and a lot of them tend to feel like you're just reading a fantasy book that occasionally gets broken up by
mm,
like real people talking. And I was like,
Mhm.
no, I want this to feel like a group of friends. So sometimes it's just goofy.
yeah.
I wanted it to feel like you're sitting at the table and these are people you recognize. So I had a lot of fun with that, and I'm really glad that when it came out, because I was worried. I was like, my editor likes it, I like it, but that doesn't necessarily mean other people are going to like it. But it had a great response, and I was really happy.
Yes.
Yes.
It definitely has like cover appeal because I remember being like, "Oh, that looks really cool," and then Keisha was literally like going nuts about this book, and I was like, "Okay, fine, babes, I'll get it." And that's when it was like, "Oh, that's also her." Like, okay, T, you
Dozer,
know?
we had such a dream team. I've been very lucky in all the books that I've worked on. I've had incredible artists, incredible letters, incredible colors. Dozer, who did the last session, just has such an amazing and distinctive style, and can I remember I would
Yes.
send character notes, and Dozer like would send a sketch of the characters, and I would just be like, no notes, they look great, you nailed it.
Nice.
Like, there was not a single thing I could improve upon. And like, we were just on the same page, and it was such a nice experience.
Yes. And it's so like everyone has their own distinct style.
Hmm.
This was so cute. Oh my goodness. I'm happy that you were like, yeah, let's change all of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Characters are very thoughtful too. I think that's one
Yes,
of the most like endearing parts about it, how thoughtful all the characters are and how unique they are.
I'm glad.
absolutely.
Love that. Wait, so you got to
Mhm.
tell us like how was it different working to put that project together versus Vixen, because Vixen started
Mm.
as a web comic. So give us the tea
Hmm.
about like the difference between producing those
Yeah.
separate stories.
Yeah, they're very different styles. I'd never done a like a scrolling comic before, but I love a challenge. So we
Yes.
had the last session, which was done chapter by chapter because it was coming out in single issues before being put together. So it was like, how do we make this interesting in each chapter while then reading smoothly as a volume? Whereas
Yeah.
Webtoon, it was more like we have, I think, 5 distinct arcs to go inside
Yeah.
of, to kind of build into a bigger story, and then we break that further down into about, we had, I think, 650, 52, some odd
Oh,
some odd number of strips to break that down into, which was
Wow.
a really fun challenge. And then it was like, okay, well, let's also, one thing I love is I'm like, we have to think about the medium. If we're on a scrolling
yeah.
format, let's play with some of these panels. Let's
Yeah.
talk about like height. I think one of my favorite ones was early on. I think it's either it might be in the first one where she's coming in from the airport and you see her at the top of the panel stepping into a cab, and then the bottom of the panel like getting out of the cab. So while you're scrolling, you can see her getting in.
This one.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a lot of fun, and it was a challenge. The way that one worked was they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we'd like to do Vixen NYC. Would you like to work on this?" And I was like, "Well, obviously, yes. I would
Period.
love to."
Right.
And so my challenge to myself was saying, "Okay, let's take the class." I read up a lot on the Vixen books had been out, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, what elements of her, what kind of core characteristics of Vixen do I want to take?" And then be like, "All right, well, we're doing a new origin story where she's like a kid fresh in college, and what stays the same about her and what changes." So it was really fun incorporating things like her fashion career and how she gets there when she starts at
Yes.
zero.
Yes.
And yeah, so it was a different challenge, but it was a really fun one, and it was definitely thinking in a story that goes much further.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
versus like a single like self-contained volume. This one
Yeah.
was, how do we keep it interesting as we go across 60 different episodes? It's almost like making 60 issues. So that was a lot of fun because I got to really stretch out and be like, okay, there's some things I can put in here that don't pay off until way later. And then I did the same thing where I was
Yeah.
like, how many queer characters can we get?
Run it up.
Yes. I
And I was like,
was
we're literally gonna have a whole arc set in the the queer community center. I was like, we're not gonna be
yes.
subtle.
Period.
No, that was so cool because I was so excited to see Thunder. For those who don't know, Black Lightning has
Yes.
2 daughters, and Thunder's in there with a girlfriend. I was just like, yo, that made everything for me. I guess so. My question is like going into Vixen NYC, which characters were you explicit about bringing into this story? Like,
Yeah.
I know you
So
wanted to make sure it was like queer characters, but like, who else
yeah.
were you like, yeah, this one,
When
the list.
yeah, when I was signed on, there were 3
Mhm.
requirements. I need to have Vixen, clearly. They wanted Garfield, they wanted Beast Boy, and they wanted Batman to show up occasionally. Those are my 3 requirements. Everybody else, I was like, let's get some milestone characters in here.
Yes.
Give me
Yeah.
Anita, give me Grace. The Grace and Anita were my first request. I was like, guys, I got it. Come on, let me have them. And then I was like, ooh, let me go get some milestone characters, and then I created Stardust, who shows up later in the comic and is a person who had been mutated to the point where they're literally just like a cloud of sentient dust that needs a containment suit.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, so what I guess my approach was like, I didn't necessarily need any huge names. I wasn't like, let me see if I can get Wonder Woman in here or something like that. I was like, no, I love exploring characters who get sort of like sidelined. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things.
Yeah.
So I was really happy that all the ones that I'd wanted got approved.
Nice.
Oh, that's dope. I didn't even think that you had to get them approved. Yeah, that must be like
Yeah. You have to ask, and then they have to approve because they'll see like what other storylines are going on at the same time. Like,
Mm.
if I
Uh,
had asked for a Robin, we've got the Wayne family adventures happening the same time, and later on you find out technically in the same universe.
Mm.
So I couldn't pull those characters without getting permission and being like, oh, so what's happening at the same time. So there's a lot of logistics that go on in the background for which characters
That's
you're allowed to
wild.
use.
oh
Yeah.
wow. That's pretty
Wow.
dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is cool.
But yeah, the
That
way
makes
you
it even
use
cooler that
Batman
you
was
need. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, babe.
Oh no, I was the way you used Batman was hilarious to me.
I asked myself, I was like, we could have a real serious Batman, or I can use the Beyonce meme. Guess which one won out?
Period. Wow. I guess that seems really obvious now that you've said it, but the whole idea of like having to get approval for characters, for continuity reasons and all of that makes so much sense. That makes it that much cooler that literally everybody that you wanted got approved.
Yeah, I got really lucky, and I was so happy because I was like, ooh, yes. Yeah, they gave me a lot of freedom with that one, so I was lucky. So a lot of the fun stuff we got to do is because I was like, hey guys, can I get away with this?
So
See,
if they
we're
gave
learning.
you the opportunity to write more Vixen, would you be interested in that, or do you feel like, oh, I'm kind of in
Yeah,
a different? Okay.
I feel like, I've grown as a writer. I love the story, but it's been a few years. I think it would be exciting because Vixen has also grown. So going into another arc with
Mm,
her would be like, all right, where is she? Maybe in a bit later going on, like how she developed, how what's changed for her. I think that would be really fun.
Yes. Love that.
And
that would be dope.
again, shout out to the art team who took this huge challenge and killed it. Like absolutely gorgeous
Yeah.
art. The character designs, I got to see them when they were building the character designs, and I was like, it looks so good. Seeing all the different Vixen outfits and everything, it just I don't know.
Yes.
I admire the art team so much on these books.
Yeah. They did their damn thing. Like
Hmm.
Absolutely.
just as a team, y'all made Vixen. I mean, she was always in my eyes. Like she was just like this badass model that was like
Hmm.
almost untouchable in a way. It's like you're too great for me.
Yeah, yeah.
But you made her so relatable, and I'm like, oh
Yes.
yeah, like she is our people. She is one of us.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
this is everything. So I see Mel TG said, now I gotta go comp your Vixen run.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you do.
And do. And do.
I hope you enjoy it.
Gonna inhale it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely like easy to get caught up and then be like, oh shoot. Because I'm a completionist. So it was very much like when I first found out about it, it wasn't printed yet at all.
Mm.
And I was like, I want to go there, but I don't want to go there because I know how I am. I'm going to want it on my shelf. And then when I found out, actually, I think Keisha might have been the person who told me that it was getting printed or that it was available
Yeah.
in print. And I was like, oh, it's over now. Then it was like
Same.
immediately, yes, add all of the next ones to the pre-order because it's going down.
Yeah.
Being able to
Neither
sit with
one of
all of
us.
them in your lap at once and know you don't have to wait is such
Yeah.
a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Neither one of us really wanted to touch webcomics.
Yeah.
That's just like another exception that neither one of us really needs.
I
But
mean,
having
web
the
comics are great, but yeah, that's a whole world to get sucked into.
yeah. Yeah.
I
So
mean, some good
I
stuff out
was
there though.
there are.
Actually,
There
actually,
really are. I just
yeah.
terrified of going into that world,
Mhm.
That's fair.
you
That's
know.
fair.
Oh, LT asked a good question. Wait, are we going to get an omnibus for Vixen NYC?
Not that I know of. I mean, if everybody wants to email DC and tell them, I won't complain.
I am a black woman in America, and I need a hardcover omnibus immediately.
Tell them to make a fancy hardcover version. I'd
Hell
be happy with that.
Yes.
I'll accept nothing less. Like, what are we
Yes.
talking about? Like, come on,
That's
that would be
hardcover.
real
Yeah,
sexy.
Right?
it would.
Right? I'd be happy.
Immediately, exactly. Oh
I
my
saw someone
god.
earlier comment about going to the library. I will always, always, always hype up the library. So yes, please do.
Yes. Yes. Go. I love getting digital comics from the library. I'm very lazy in that way, where I'm like, I have my books, but if I don't feel like actually wanting to hold them, I I go to my library and get a digital copy.
You know
And I was
what? It
just
helps
like,
the library.
Facts.
see? um, I guess. All right. So my next question, one is it's another fangirl, but also it's about brooms. So I lately, ever since Sinners came out, right? People have been, they've been doing like all the book lists related to that. And I'm like, y'all are missing brooms because because like brooms, it was my first introduction to the community of the Mississippi Delta, where you have indigenous, Chinese and Black folks like coming together. I wouldn't have known that without brooms. And so when I went into Sinners, it wasn't a, I guess if you don't know that history, a lot of people could be like, oh, Kugler's just like came up with this and this is really cool and he's being really inclusive. And it's like, no, this is actual real community. And I learned that from a graphic novel. And I want everybody and their mother to know that. So, right. So I guess I wanted to know like your inspiration for centering on that community in the Mississippi Delta during that time period in Brooms.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of inspiration for Brooms is my own family. My dad's side of the family comes from the South, not Mississippi. They're from North Carolina and various other areas around there. But when I was looking, I was like, I'd love to focus because I don't think it's fair to talk about, especially the South, but anything historic in the United States and talking about oppression without centering Indigenous people. Because it would be almost disingenuous to do it otherwise. Like, our struggles are so entwined. So I ended up picking Mississippi in the 1930s, and I knew I wanted to have both Black and Indigenous and mixed Black and Indigenous characters, because as someone who's mixed, having representation for mixed people is huge for me because you don't get it a lot. You'll get Black people, you get white people, you get any various, but then like somehow mixed people don't exist.
Or it's very ambiguous. Like we know they're mixed, but we don't know with what.
They're just sort of brown skinned and don't seem to have a culture.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like I want their culture to be front and center. It's going to be a big part of their life, and it's going to be celebrated. So I wanted to have that, like, or Luella. So Teo Duvall, who was the artist on this book, again, always going to hype up the artist, is Mexican American. And I was like, whenever I write a book, especially if I'm collabing with someone from the start, when I pitch a book, I always ask in the scripting stage, I'm like, is there anything you want to appear in this book? Like, I want to make this a collab with both of us. I want to make sure that if there's something you want to see in this book, we get it in there. And so Teo was like, can we have a character with, Mexican American heritage? And I was like, heck yeah, let's go. So that's how Luella ended. And Luella became so much more well-rounded because of it. Like we have the scene with her and her father making tortillas, and it's not a thing that's like, hey guys, look, we're Mexican, but it's like it's just part of their life. And so it was a lot of fun. But when researching, I was like, oh, we also have these Asian communities, specifically Chinese communities, because I think when a lot of people think of Asian Americans historically in the US, they often think of railroad workers. And it's like it's so much bigger than that. Their history is so much richer than that in the US. And it's so often overlooked. Like when people think of the South, they often think of just white and Black, and it's not that simple. So I had a lot of fun playing with that in the book.
Yes. Love that.
And I was excited when I saw Swinners. I was like, Choctaw!
Yeah.
We got this. I was like, yes, thank you.
Yes, that's so cool.
So I was really excited seeing such a similar setting taken in such a different direction.
Yeah. I mean, but like the way you did it was so cool to have this, them racing brooms. And I don't know. Okay, this may be left field. It's fine. You can like shoot me down and say, no, this is, but it I don't know. I got like maybe because my kid watches Cars all the time, but like some of it just felt vaguely familiar in that vein, and I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, I definitely pulled an inspiration from like back alley like racing, like street racing.
Yeah.
I wanted a very similar vibe to like old school back alley racing where it's like, it's loud, people hear it and they're like, there's those hooligans again.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely gave that same type of energy for sure.
I'm glad.
I'm curious how you, because like talking about these different projects, they all had very different like paths to being published.
Mhm.
Like for instance, Brooms is published through Levine Querido, and their stories, like I haven't seen a miss from them yet.
They publish some good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love what they represent in terms of making sure that, every voice has their opportunity to share their story. So I'd love to hear how you got connected with them, because you're like with DC or with that, like.
Yeah, that one was a lot of luck, and which is this industry in general. It ends up being like, I talked about how an editor saw me 6 years before I ended up getting hired by them, but a similar situation where it actually wasn't me, it was Teo, who was working in convention, and
Mm.
Nick, our editor for Brooms, had come across Teo's work and loved his art style and said,
Mhm.
hey, if you have anything you want to pitch, I'd love to see it. And that
Nice.
was right when they were splitting off into becoming Levine Querido. And
Mhm.
so Teo came to me because I had emailed Teo very recently and been like, hey, would you be interested in working on this like 1930s illegal broom racing witch project? And Teo's like, oh, there's this editor who would be was interested in seeing my, let's try it out.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he loved the pitch. And like it's one of those things where it's just perfect timing and being in the right place and connecting with the right people.
Yes.
And that's why whenever people are like, well, how do you network? And I'm like, you can't really think of it as networking. You just gotta like
Mm.
make friends and do things you
Ooh.
like.
Yep.
And again, luck. Luck is such a huge factor that you can't even predict it. It's just like, what were the chances?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was, I believe, their first graphic novel, not the one that they've like got onto a shelf, but the first one they signed on like a contract for, because our book is kind of chunky, took a little longer to draw.
Yes.
Because they were like, we want to do a graphic novel imprint, and we, so we were technically the first book to sign up for that.
Tea.
And they were very new to
Nice.
it because they mostly are used to doing traditional books.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an exciting process behind the scenes to be like, hey, how, for this very traditional style publisher to shift into making graphic novels, what does that take?
I
Very
mean,
cool.
that's dope for it. This to be the first comic to come out of Levine Querido. That
Yeah, it was fun. It
yeah.
was, I don't know. Sometimes I look back and I'm just like, oh, that did happen, huh?
You might have to stop saying that it's luck, babe. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
It is. I've just been very lucky. I will say it's hard work paired with luck. Luck
There you
is
go.
like what gets you
Yeah.
seen. Luck is like what gets you that opportunity. But it's the hard work that shows them like, yes, it was lucky that he happened to meet Teo and happened to say, let me see a pitch. It was the hard work that made the pitch good enough for him to take. So it's definitely
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
50-50.
Yes.
All right. What I already prefaced it, or I already said it earlier, but like going through your website and just all the things you do in the industry, you're an editor, sensitivity reader, all that stuff. You also do flats now.
Hmm.
Understanding that you are an artist as well, that kind of makes more sense. But for those who don't know, what are flats?
Yeah, so flats are part of the coloring process. When you're looking at your comic, coloring is intensive work. A lot of people are just like, oh, there's the writing and the art, and that's not really there's plenty of artists who do the colors in the inks, but it's a whole process in and of itself. And one
Yeah.
thing that is the most time consuming is putting in the flats, which is like the flat colors. It's kind of like if you think of a coloring book, you have your lines and then you like fill in your base color before you go in with like shading and textures and all that. It's incredibly
Oh.
tedious, takes a long time. I love doing it. I am terrible at color design. I'm a horrible colorist. Like, but the good thing is you don't need to be good at color design to flat. Flatting is literally making very careful, precise outlines and putting in those flat colors. But the colors usually don't want the correct colors. They're
Mm.
like, because you can throw them off that way.
Oh.
So you end up, you're like, what flats look like when you send them to a colorist, it's just like it looks like a clown threw up on a page. Like they're usually hideous, because then the colors can go in and be like, that's definitely not the right color, and go in and put the correcting in. Whereas if you put
Oh.
in similar colors to what should be on there, you may end up looking at two pages side by side in print that weren't obvious on screen that they were wrong, but when they're printed, you'll be like, this one's way darker, this one looks like weirdly yellow. So you want the colors to be able to be like, no, I have my set palette. I know what the colors are going to be. You're not tricking them into putting the wrong thing in place. So I have fun with it. I'm like, I'm someone who loves like precision lines, making sure things are really clean. So even though I'm garbage at color design, doesn't matter.
That sounds therapeutic, low key.
Yeah,
Right?
it is, because at the end, like you can turn off the lines layer and you just see all the like neat little colors, and I'm like, ooh,
Oh, I love
satisfying.
that. Oh
Oh,
wow.
that
Dang, that like adds a whole nother level to like that process to like think
Yeah.
they're literally
yeah.
sending you layers and you're like, okay, my turn. And then we
Hmm.
pass it to the next person. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it helps the colorist a lot. It saves them a lot of time. And that's really part of the reason I do it is for Brooms. We had a really tight deadline, and Teo
Mm.
had finished with the inks. Bex Glendining was coming in with the colors, and we were running a bit behind. And I was like, let me do flats. So I took on doing the flats for the book and sent them to Bex, and that helped streamline a lot of the process. So I was like, oh, this is fun. So I ended up, occasionally when there's other books, I'll be like, oh, let me do flats. I'll do that.
That's so
No, that
cool.
is so you're right. And I guess this leads into my next question where you being so involved in the artistic process and having such respect for artists, you know, I guess unfortunately there are a lot of people who are still questioning whether or not generative AI is, okay or whatever. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this is why we do need people to understand just how involved,
Yeah,
the artistic process is to understand why generative AI should not exist.
yeah. I
Um,
Generative AI is soulless. Anyone who follows me on
very
social media
true.
knows that I hate it with a passion. I think there's no excuse to use it. And people are like, "Oh, well, what if you don't have money?" Listen, I spent years working minimum wage at a grocery store and scraping together pennies to hire artists. And you know what? It was worth it. It was worth it because I don't know. Anytime people, if you're going to use AI, I'm going to assume that you don't care enough about your art or your story or anything. And I will simply disregard you as a creative because you're not creative. You know what?
Yeah.
You could have spent 10 years on your book. If you use AI for the art, I'm going to assume that you were just as lazy with your writing. Um,
Mhm.
Mm,
and it's,
facts.
and for so many reasons. It's not just that. It's like it's stealing from artists who have put so much work into their creative
Yeah.
process, and then to have this like horrible slot machine like take it and vomit out something that looks something like their
Like
art.
everything else, right?
Right, right. And then on top of that, just the sheer damage it does to the environment. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
especially in black and brown neighborhoods. Like, if you're going to talk about supporting people who are low income, don't use AI. It's literally poisoning the water in black and brown neighborhoods, and indigenous neighborhoods, because they're not getting as much of a voice in media. So you have all these data centers opening up on indigenous land. And it's like, yo, the folks over there are having enough problems. We don't need to add more.
Yeah.
And for what?
That part.
For what? Just get better. Sorry, get good.
Get
Do
better.
better.
Do better. Like if you want to do something good, learn. That's what makes it cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's so
Melanin Mind
frustrating.
says, preach. I wish more teachers were educated in this topic.
I agree.
Period.
They push it so hard in companies that I wish we had better education on the damage it's doing. We need those old like Captain
Yeah.
Planet PSAs. Like, you know how they were like, do not, turn off
Yes.
your tap after 2 minutes? Like, that was a huge public thing. We need that for AI where it's like, hey, guess what you're doing? Like, look at the sheer environmental damage this is doing, because companies are pushing it so hard that people don't realize.
We
Yeah.
don't need a picture, an AI generated picture of you and Jesus holding each
Oh
other.
my
Like
God.
that's
Yeah. Like,
does not
sorry,
need to
you're gonna have to
exist.
learn sucky Photoshop like the rest of us.
Right.
Actually. Oh my God.
Forgot
Jana
MS
agrees.
Paint. I don't know.
Jana agrees with you, saying it's soulless and generic, but apart from that, it's also theft and killing the planet even faster.
Exactly.
Definitely agree.
Exactly.
Wait, she also wrote, in a PD the other day, someone said they denied to make a data collection sheet. I can make one.
Yep.
I can make one in Microsoft Paint. Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Y'all are fun.
just like every weekend I try to go through like all the comics on Kickstarter, and
Mhm.
I found one that I was like, "Oh, this sounds really cool." And then I get to the bottom,
Oh
and I've learned
no.
because of AI, I must read everything now.
Yep. Yep.
I must be very intentional with that.
Mhm.
And so I get to the very bottom of it, and there it is, and it's like, "Yeah, I use AI for concept art." I was like, "Ah."
No. No. Yeah. It's
It's a no-go.
drives me nuts. Drives me nuts.
And I feel like they know that they're wrong because they're gonna put it at the very end
In the
or in small
tiniest print
print
at the very
somewhere. It's
bottom.
like,
Try and
Right,
sneak it
and
in.
it's like a see, well, what happened was it's not like a direct yes or no.
right.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
the,
They try and
"Let
talk
me
around it.
explain." Right. And I'm like, "Damn. You coulda just used this Kickstarter to pay somebody."
Yeah.
I was like,
It's
Right.
one of the things. It's one of the reasons. Um, sorry, I'm gonna segue into
No,
my little
please
publishing
do
"Mhm,
house
it.
here.
mhm."
Not to shameless self promo, but
Oh, no, that was one of
As
my
you
questions.
should.
Go
We got a
ahead.
whole
Right?
section ready for you for that. Yeah.
it's one of the reasons that publishing itself is a whole difficult beast, and that is a main reason that I decided to open up my own small publisher.
Yes.
But in part because I'm part of this comics community that I love, and who I'm seeing just burn out left and right because they're not being treated right.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, should I start like a little comics business? And I was like, there's so many great comics businesses out there. I don't need to start another one. What I want to see is more illustrated books, because I love illustrated books. And I was like, what if I pair books with like all these really cool comics folks who, don't necessarily need to be doing 250 pages of comics, but might want to do maybe like 5 to 10 illustrations.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And one of the things, when I was coming up with like the sort of like business mission was, we never ever use it AI. Like, that's just that unacceptable to the nth degree. And we're always going to make it creators first. It's not, it would be like anyone who's into business would be like, this is a bad business. And I'm like, I'm not doing this because I want to make a lot of money. I'm doing this because I love books.
Yeah.
And it was I created this whole different royalty structure system where people get paid from the very first sale versus like having to pay off in advance. And I was like, let's see, it's an experiment. I was like, if this crashes and burns in the first year, I will have learned. But it's doing well. And I'm really, really excited about where it's going. So yeah, we're opening our very first submission period tomorrow.
Ooh.
So I'm really excited.
Nice.
We're teaming up with
Yes.
another Black-owned press, Wild Star Press,
Period.
and I'm so jazzed about it. Yeah,
Okay.
Oh my
Speak more about
goodness.
this.
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Like, I guess I should say what Bone Dust Press is the name of
Yes.
my small press, and I'm a big fan of Wild Star. Akira runs that one, known as Blue on most social media, and we decided to team up because right now things are hard. Things are hard for everybody, and one of the things I want to do, apart from like just supporting creative, was to think like, why don't we as publishers act more like a community? And yeah, it's not that we don't, but it feels very much like, we're competition. And I'm like, but I'm putting out realistically maybe 1 to 2 books a year. I was like, I'm not going to be out here putting eight books a year out. Again,
Yeah.
a lot of this is coming out of pocket. So I was like, let's collab, let's work together. I put out one book, these other great publishers are putting out books, so it's like, if you like my stuff, check out these ones. Let's share, like, readers are going to read. We don't need to fight
That's
each other
right.
for
Yeah.
them. Let's lift each other up. So we ended up coming with the idea for the collab, which I'm really excited for. We're going to have 3 stories, so 3 writers and 3 artists, and we're going to kickstart it in August or September. So I'm really, really excited. But yeah.
Oh, that is
That's so
super
cool.
dope. Okay.
And then we've got a pre-order right now for our second book. Our first book came out last October, The Traitor and the Wretch. So if you like
Yeah.
weird, grimy henchmen falling in love, it's that book, with an amazing cover by Amy Phillips and a fantastic internal illustrations by Rowan McCall. And then this book is called This Mortal Coil. It's about it's just
Yeah.
like a skeleton servant who outlives the wizard that summoned them. And they're like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I was supposed to be free. Like, the wizard dies and I get to go free. And now they're like, what am I supposed to get a job? What is this? And the skeleton trying to figure out what to do. And so I'm really excited. We're collabing with an artist who makes paper miniatures. And we
Ooh.
have like
Yeah, I
little
saw
miniatures going
that.
on
That
with that.
looks so cool.
So yeah, I'm really excited. I love collabs. I feel like it's so much more interesting than being like, let me make merch or something. Like collaborating with other artists and again, always lifting each other up.
Love that.
That is so dope. Oh my goodness.
Jana said, congratulations. 3rd career on the horizon. 4th, I lost count.
Right?
So I'm very much a little bit of like an A-type when it comes to
Living
like,
your truth, babe.
What if? And then my family is immediately like Jasmine.
But I mean, you're successful at it
I'm not gonna be
all.
weird about it. 2 minutes later, I'm knee deep.
But you're super successful at it all, so like it's okay. It's
right. That's what I was gonna say.
okay.
Is it weird if you're pulling it off?
Right.
I think not.
I think once we pass the frantic planning, this is where my obsession with like bulleted lists and goals comes in really handy.
Oh, that is so cool. Okay, so for those who don't know, because like when I read that this Mortal Coil was an illustrated novella, like how did we get to that? Because I've only recently heard about illustrated novellas. So like what was the inspiration? I mean, I guess sorry, my brain has stopped working.
No.
But like what was the inspiration behind that?
I just love them. I mean,
that was medium.
I was like a huge fan of The Unfortunate Events growing up, and there's a book on like Black folk tales called Her Stories and the People Could Fly by Virginia Hamilton that was also had these gorgeous illustrations in it.
Yes.
And then you look back at like old classics, like some of the old like Frankensteins and stuff like that, where you have like these gorgeous inked illustrations in them. And I'm like, how come we don't do this anymore? Like it feels like they're all in the middle school section where you have these really fun illustrations in books. And you get to anything older than that, and they're like, oh, we've stolen half your joy. Wait a minute. Where are my fun pictures?
Right.
And so that was what I was like, I want to see more fun, cool, interesting illustrations in a book's meant for adults. And so that was kind of the basis. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I want to do stories and I want to see art. And yeah, for this Mortal Coil, we're working with a couple of artists. Vlad and Jan did the cover and they did an amazing job. And then Marie Anger, who I am a huge fan of, is doing the internal illustrations, and I'm so excited for people to see it.
Jasmine said, because why not? That's why.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. I was like,
right.
it was one of those things where it's like publishing is already this like slow beast of an industry that's currently on fire. And I was like, I mean, if we're gonna rough it, why not do what I want to do?
Have fun, right?
Right?
But no, big heavy agree to like adding joy back into our life, because I can't tell
Yes.
you, see kids who like as they get older and they read books and they're like, where are the pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Where are the
That's
things?
still me.
Yes.
No, that is so cool. And it comes out this July, right?
Yes, the book comes out this July. The pre-orders are open now, and then the Heavier the Years is the one that we're opening submissions for. We're gonna kickstart that one later in the fall.
I'm about
Okay,
to
come
put
on,
it
back to back.
right. I'm about to put the link in the chat for everyone and then put it in the
Thank you.
description as well, so everybody could like get it.
Run and go cop that pre-order.
Please do,
I
because every pre-order helps me pay the artists and also myself. But you know, the one I'm excited about is paying the artists. And then one thing I've committed to, because you know I don't have much money in general, but I want to do good in the world. I want to give back. So every sale we make at Bone Dust Press, each month we pick a new nonprofit to give to. So this month is Doctors Without Borders, especially since they're helping out in Lebanon. Last month was for medical care in Palestine, and we're going to choose one for next month. So every month we do 10% of all of our sales ends up going to some sort of good cause, because if that's all I can do, at least I can do that.
Wow, Jasmine, that's amazing.
Thank you.
And this is why I believe artists are activists. Just
I agree.
it's you have to be to look at the world and, you know, take from it good, bad, whatever, indifferent, and not only create stories, but then, you know, do what you're also doing, creating other opportunities for other people and building community. And now, you are amazing. Just
Thank you. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like some days I feel so angry and helpless, and I was like, what can I do? What is, even if it's tiny, even if it's small, what's something I can do that I can commit to? And this is something that was easy to commit to. I was like, again, I didn't start this publisher because I was like, I want to get rich. That's not gonna happen. But I was like, I want to do cool stuff with cool people, and if it can add some good to the world, great.
Wow. If you didn't already have enough reasons to run and go cop that pre-order, you do now, folks. Like,
yeah, please do. I'm gonna calculate my 10% at midnight. So yeah, if we can get a few more sales in, that would be great.
yes. Period.
I'm about to get it right after
I'm
this.
literally like, hey, let me skedaddle on over there and get my copy.
Right?
Yes. Period.
I won't hold you. I'm doing that right now. Just
like
so you know.
Well,
I'm here, but I'm also
right. Oh my gosh. Okay, so while because y'all know Keisha will be like, "Yep, we're doing this right now. You guys are gonna walk along with me." While we're doing this, because we mean it. Go ahead.
I'm serious. So like you can get the Mortal Coil paperback plus the limited edition miniatures for $22 total. The way I'm getting that right now.
Nothing.
Right?
Oh, I'll show you them. I have them
for
right
lunch
here
tomorrow, and go ahead and cop that, y'all.
I'm so excited. So I'm building the little paper figurines.
Oh.
They look like this. They're super
Shut
cute.
up!
Also, the best part, they're magnetic. So you can take your little skeleton, you can pull it apart, you can snap it back together, and we got the little sword to go with it.
Shut up!
I'm so delighted by it.
Oh my gosh, what did I do? That is so cool.
I have so much fun.
Your whimsy is unmatched, Jasmine, and I'm here for it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Imagine like building it and then playing with it as you're reading. Yo.
Yep.
Yes. That's my hope.
100%.
So I'm very
Oh
excited
my
to be sending
gosh.
out all these fun little skeletons to
I
people.
love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so while we're doing that, we want to make sure we're being respectful of you and your time. We want to hear you shameless plug everything you got going on, Jasmine. Where can people find
Okay.
you? Which platforms? Where can people send money to support your projects, things that are going on, pre-order books, all of that. If you have anything else that you feel like we should be aware of, we want you to shameless plug yourself right now. Go for it.
Awesome. I feel like I did that for the last 20 minutes, but I'll do some more.
Listen, you did it very
Yeah.
well. So let's do a recap shit.
Yeah, the biggest one's going to be Bone Dust Press. If you're going to support any of my books, Bone Dust Press would be the way to do it, because every single sale from there is going to support not just me, but for the artists and everybody. Yep, we've got the ebooks, because shipping is horrible. So unfortunately, I can't ship physical stuff internationally. But please, if you're international, ebooks are the way to go. If you're international, you can request the Trader and the Wretch. It's the one that's already published. You can request it as long as any of your local bookstores order through Ingram. So it is available internationally. It's also available through libraries. So if you want to support any of my books, please request it at the library.
Nice.
I would say, yeah, if it's not Bone Dust Press, I'm like, who cares about my other books? The last session collected edition is coming out. I think they just opened the pre-orders,
Yeah.
like was mentioned earlier. So if you're curious about that, again, feel free to request it through your library, or if you got a few extra bucks to spend, you can order it. I have other books coming out, but unfortunately they're all under NDA, so I can't say anything about them yet.
Ooh, okay.
So I've
Nice.
got about 2 books that I've finished but haven't been announced, and another 3 books that that I'm working on currently. So if you follow me on social media, you'll find I'm mainly on Blue Sky.
Mhm.
I'll be chatting about those as soon as I am able, and tell anybody
By
who's
coming back
looking.
on the Pink Riot comic show.
I will happily come
Mhm.
back on the peak, right? We might have their little D&D session.
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then tomorrow, if you know anybody who wants to be published, who's got some short stories or wants to do some illustration for books, feel free to let them know to submit. We'll have the submissions open for the collab, all through May. So it's going to be a month long open submissions. It's the only time this year we'll have open submissions, and that is also through the Bone Dust Press website. I'm trying to think of anything else. Uh, I believe that's everything. If anybody, I know I'm running late on your time. I tend to ramble, but if
Oh
anybody has
You're doing
questions, I'm
great.
happy to answer.
no,
No,
I
you're doing
actually
great.
just bought your books. I
Yes.
Thank
just
you.
had to say
Thank
it.
you.
Yes.
I
She
appreciate
did
it.
And I
Brayburn.
got the miniatures.
Oh, and thank you in the comments for getting it as well. It genuinely is like a huge deal for me. Like every single one of those sales makes a difference, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yes. Period.
Great. This
We
is
love to see it. I'm definitely gonna get
yes.
mine as soon as we get out of here because I'm not as great at multitasking for those sorts
That's
of
fair.
things.
Neither am
But
I.
I need my miniatures too. All of the
Right.
things. All of the
I
things.
and I'm excited because every single sale of the miniatures, the collab that I'm doing with the paper artist means that he's getting a cut, um, for every one of those sales. So
Nice.
yeah, I think that's what I love about collabs. I was like, forget making my own merch. Like let me let me work with some cool people and do some fun
Right?
stuff.
I love that. Ooh,
That is
yeah,
super
more people.
dope.
Somebody else said it in the chat. I think it was Jana, but yeah, more books need like their corresponding merch because that's so fun.
Yeah.
Right? Something fun, something unique. And there's so many cool, unique artists out there who are going to make something way cooler than I would have done in my free time. So I'm like, yeah, no, let's get the expert. Let's get the expert in here to do it.
I
That is
love
so
that.
cool.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we just want to say thank you for coming on. You are amazing. You are goals to be for real, for real.
Thank you so
Yes.
much for having me. No, I was so honored to get your email asking me down here.
Yeah. It's like,
It's absolutely a delight. Thank you so much for all your
Yeah.
energy. Writing is such a it's weird to be like a lonely profession, but you know, you kind of sit at your desk, you write your stuff, you send it out into the world, and you hope people like it.
Yeah.
And to actually to interact with people and to be like sharing that energy, it means a lot. So I appreciate it.
Yes. Well, you are such a vibe. You are definitely welcome in the Pink Riot Lair anytime.
Thank
We definitely
you.
want to have you back when you can speak more about these other projects that are coming
Yes,
out.
yes. They're really exciting. I just can't say them. The name of them,
Cool.
Right?
Yes, so
though.
you guys pre-order. Again, we can't say it enough. We really appreciate you. You have been an absolute gem of a guest.
Thank
And we
you.
look forward to having you back. And we'll definitely be screaming about our pre-orders when they come in because
Please
we definitely
do.
give props where they're due. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And then thank you to everybody who showed up to the stream. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Everybody, one last time for Jasmine Walls. Later. Oh my goodness. I gotta.
Yay.
That was so exciting.
You good, babe?
I'll be all right. Give me a second.
Yes, bask in it. Bask in it. I love when you like are because you guys probably have guessed this. Our blurred library here, she takes a blurred library approach to all of the things. So she's like doing the deep dive, finding out all the things that she can before these interviews, and I'm like, sounds like good vibes. So like learning some of the like cool things about Jasmine that I didn't even know. It's like every time you like turn the page or find out the other project or something like that, you're just like, wow, what does she not do? Like this is so cool. So and then to
Everything.
meet her and see that she's just such a genuinely kind and sweet and thoughtful person just adds on to it. And y'all, what do you mean we accidentally found our DM? Like what are you saying to me right now? And y'all know I was like in the back of my mind, I was like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I had to do it. I was like, maybe I'll wait to the end of the show. I was like, nope, I can't
Nope.
do it. I can't sit on that until
Nope.
the end of the show. And for her to just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, girl, I'm like, literally, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't.
Yeah. Ah, my cheeks hurt from smiling
Yes.
so hard.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, this was awesome. I
Yes.
feel like this with everyone who has come on. Like they're just like super dope, super amazing.
Yeah.
You learn something new. But can I tell you, like, I had like a million questions. I have my journal, and there's like 2 pages of questions, and I promise you, I did not ask them all.
I tried to be chill, y'all, because y'all know I will just go and go and go. And I was like, I know my
Oh
good
no, no, no,
sis
no.
has come
I know
prepared.
I overwhelmingly I had so many, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be this intense. That's why I kept fumbling over words.
I don't think you could be intense. And she was so kind and she was cool about the time and stuff. So you should have asked your questions.
I'll get it next time. I promise you.
Okay.
These
Yeah,
are
that
these
is
are
another cool thing too. Y'all know I don't have no
Right.
shame. For her to be like, yeah, girl, come back. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep being like the worst that somebody can do is tell me no because it hasn't happened yet, if
That
I'm
part.
being so for real. But yes, all of the things. So exciting. And like not her casually being like, yeah, no big deal, just 5 whole other projects in the works that I can't talk about it because I got NDAs and whatnot. I'm like, okay.
Right?
Yeah,
God, that
I'm
was
gassed.
super
And then
cool.
because there's like such a wide range of her scope of skills, it's like it could literally be anything.
Right?
It could
I feel
literally be
like
anything.
not only am I gonna get in where I fit in, but I'm also like good at everything I fit in. So like
Yeah, like say less, just casually like, yeah, we're a little behind on production, so I'm just gonna get in there. I'm like, okay, girl, we'll do that then. Do
Right?
that. Let's just
So
keep it
dope.
moving. Oh my gosh. And then the little figure, like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
For real, I was
That
gonna get it anyway, cause
Look,
like, there's something about illustrated novellas and, like, where it sits between prose and
yes,
comics that I'm really, really
yes.
interested in, but that little miniature magnet thing kinda sold me. I was
Right?
like,
Like, I was
"I
like,
need
"Oh,
to."
yeah, immediately that has to happen." And then the rationale behind it was just too stinking cute, 'cause I'm like, "You know what? Hell yeah."
Right.
Because why the fuck not? You know?
I honestly feel like that should be the motto for 2026 with everything that's happening, especially the news for the last, like, 48
Yeah,
hours.
actually,
Why the
actually.
fuck not?
You know
Why not?
what? Because why the fuck not?
Why not?
We need to put that on a shirt. Mm, mm.
Because why not?